Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Beyond the Pink Ribbon with your host, Nadia E. Miller. In a world where pink often symbolizes breast cancer awareness, this show stands as a beacon of hope and empowerment. With Nadia at the helm, we embark on a journey of resilience, courage, and unwavering determination.
Good evening and welcome to Praise Indy AM 1310 The Light. My name is Nadia E. Miller and I am your host for Beyond the Pink Ribbon, which airs every Wednesday from 6 to 6:30 p.m. We're here to light up your midweek. Look, can you believe it? It's Wednesday. We made it. Now, before we get started, make sure that we connect. Follow us at Nadia E. Miller on Facebook and Instagram. Click like or share so we can make sure that you're locked in each week to hear about the amazing guest and keep up with what's going on with Beyond the Pink Ribbon. Huge shout out to our sponsor that has made tonight's show possible, DBISP LLC, because in their world, as you know, small business equals big results. We're also live streaming from the studio on Facebook, so feel free to shower us with some love, comments, or questions on our social media sites. We're here for it. But good vibes only. That's all we'll take here. So, as most of you know, March is Women's History Month, and we are celebrating the entire month with women that are making history in our community and doing really impactful things. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce my guest this evening, Miss Kyla Thompson, who is a very special woman making an impact in our city surrounding health and wellness. Kyla, welcome to the Beyond the Pink Ribbon radio show.
Thank you.
I'm really excited to have you with me this evening. So let's get right into it. Tonight's show is dedicated to just mental health and wellness. And I want you to tell our listeners how you have transitioned into the world of mental health.
So, as you know, I started off as a hairstylist here in Indianapolis. For the last 23 years, I've been a hairstylist, and the pandemic happened. And so it was like I had to get, sit down like everybody else.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, I have no income coming in. What am I going to do? And I'm like, what is my skill set? Like, what am I good at doing? And as we know, in the fine print of my hairstylist job description is therapist, right? And so I'm like, you know what? I connect with people well. People always come and tell me their business anyway. And it's like, they trust me with that. So let me see what I can do. And I looked and was like, you know what? Therapy is the way to go. So I embarked on that 2-year journey, and boy, it was something going back to school after 14 years. But I did it, and I found that this is my purpose. This is where I'm supposed to be. And so here I am now, providing therapy services here in the community and have some great partnerships. But it's a beautiful thing that people trust me with, and it's a privilege that people trust me with their most precious experiences of life and help them navigate through them.
Yeah, absolutely. That it is absolutely a gift that you have, and it is a blessing. But what I often talk about, as you know, is folks just don't jump into things generally, right? They're thrusted into those things because of something that they are doing, not just a passion, but things that they are assigned to. Tell our listeners a little bit about your background, like your education and what you have done over the last. You went back to school after 14 years, but there's some things that you have absolutely done before them in order that was driving you towards what your current occupation is right now.
So my background, how far back we going? Well, originally, I'm from Fort Wayne, and I moved here to Indianapolis in 2010. And for me, it was time for me to transition out of what was so familiar. And I'm a person who loves new experiences, so that was easy for me to come here. Like, I'm gonna just take on this new and see what I'm gonna do. Didn't really have a clear plan. Had an idea, but God thought otherwise. I was like, and I was not gonna do hair. That was not the goal. The goal was to try to get into law school because I had 2 daughters. I was a young mom, and that wasn't it. I took my LSAT once, was studying to take it again. I had actually started a master's program when I moved here to get my MBA, and I was like, I'm gonna go to law school. I did it for the wrong reasons though, thinking because money. I'm a single mom. I need money, and I can do this thing, and that wasn't it. I met somebody who told me, they said, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And he told me, he said, you're in a field right now that can make just as much money as any lawyer, if not more. And Absolutely. It was just something about that. And then another person I met who was just like, so excited about doing the thing they love. And I'm like, I want to do the thing I love, And so then when I was working for IPS when I moved here in January, didn't realize summertime was coming and I wouldn't have a job. And so I had to go find a hair salon to work in. And from there, that became like, oh, I can do this, I did work a couple jobs in between there along with that. But again, I think everything just led up to this moment of me going back to school to get my master's in clinical mental health counseling. And from there, I had a fellowship with the National Board for Certified Counselors, which was amazing. And all of that helped to kind of like validate me, like, this is where I'm supposed to be, because I felt at the time like I'm just a hairstylist. My mom was like, you got to quit saying that. You're more than just a hairstylist, But it is a gift, and I love it. And I really love that I get to make these connections and, like I said, help people process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, we're celebrating women that are doing amazing things in the community. I think it's very interesting. No one is just anything. There's so much the breadth of that. And so I'll tell you all, if you follow me on my social media sites at Nadia E. Miller, you'll hear more about Kyla. She is a leader in the community, but also a part of a wonderful program called the Unicorns that we've talked about before. We'll talk about that again. But tonight, we're going to focus on mental health and wellness. And so, Kyla, can you share with me some common misconceptions about mental health that you've encountered in your work?
Yeah. One, especially being a person of color and, seeing a lot of us and just people of color in general, not just Black people, say that we don't do that. Therapy's not for us. I don't want somebody actually said this, I don't want everybody knowing all my business. I was like, well, I'm not everybody. And I'm not going to tell everybody a business, But also that they think that seeking mental health help or whatever is for people who have severe mental illnesses. And there's a spectrum, the mental health spectrum. It doesn't have to be, oh, you have this severe illness, and that's when you can be seen. It can be just something slight that you're struggling with and you're having a hard time getting past. There's also the distrust of the medical and the health community, right? Because there have things that have been historically done to us that makes it that we pass on this generational thing. Don't trust them. Don't trust that. Right. But there's also things like it's too expensive.
Right.
Which therapy can be pricey if you're paying out of pocket. But that's why there are some organizations have sliding scale fees. There's resources out here where organizations have funding for mental health. Also, if you have insurance is accepted. Look
Absolutely.
into your if you work for a company that has different employee like resource groups and things like that. Like there's ways to be seen. Yeah.
So, and you were talking about this a bit, but to just go a little further, like how can someone, just an individual like me, someone that's that's a lay person, how can I distinguish between feeling down and experiencing a more serious mental health issue?
One thing is the intensity, the frequency, the symptoms, and then the duration. So those are things we look at. So how severe is, like, how intense are you feeling these things? And I like to do on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the lowest, 10 being the worst. And doctors ask you questions like that too. The duration, does it last for longer than 2 weeks? Has it been a couple months? Has it been years that you've been feeling like this? And different symptoms. Just because you're sad doesn't mean that you're depressed.
Right.
Sadness is a symptom of depression, but that doesn't mean that you're depressed. Like, for instance, major depressive disorder is at least feeling certain symptoms at least 2 weeks. So there's things like appetite. If you have an increased or decreased appetite, do you have feelings of worthlessness? There's a lot of different symptoms, and not just, I just feel sad. But that's why I encourage people to seek professional help, because we can help you work through that and figure that out.
Right.
So maybe it's just an adjustment disorder. Maybe you're just like going through a hard time right now, and it's not, I'm so depressed. But people are scared of those.
Yeah.
They're scared of those labels. And because, back in the day, it was where that would follow you, and that would be like this negative stigma on you, like, oh, I don't know if I want to hire them, or you better watch out for that lady, So it's things like that. This is why now it's different. It's a different experience, and we have different, not just terminology, a different understanding of what people are going through.
Yeah, and some of the things that I think that is really important is to empower not just women, but people in general to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then to seek, as you were talking about, we're going to talk about a little bit later, about resources that are available to them. One of the things that I often talk about is mind your mind. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted to welcome you to the show, but I wanted to talk about it because of what goes on in the evolution of life is real, right?
Right.
And I think that what we are seeing, particularly in young people, is what I want to talk about. Both of us have daughters that are in college. We talk about how they deal with, or how they can deal with, anxieties or pressures of the world. Talk about that a little bit.
Like you said, that's why it's important for us to talk to each other, because a lot of people, what happens is when they get to experience those symptoms of anxiety or depression, they'll isolate.
Yeah.
And so they don't want to talk to anybody. They'll stay in their room, and it's important to socialize and be around people and have like your trusted circle, because they'll watch certain things like, hey, Nadia, you've been kind of quiet lately. You okay? Right? Yeah. And some people, when they do that, they'll say, oh, I'm fine, I'm good, and they'll be settled on I'm good. But you need people who are gonna go first. Well, you sure? Because I ain't seen you here lately, or you haven't done this lately. So like your pattern is kind of off, right? Yeah. And so to go deeper, but especially like with young adults, right? These young kids, they get lost in this social media and stuff too, and that can impact them. So it's important to really have those close relationships and be vulnerable, and have people that it's like they're a safe space for you that you can be vulnerable with, like that.
I appreciate you saying that, talking about the safe space, and we are going to continue with that as soon as we got to thrive together real quick by thanking our partner and our sponsor for making this show possible, which is DBISP LLC. Elevate your business with DBISP LLC. Explore endless possibilities. Boost your success with DBISP's innovative solutions. You can visit them at their website at www.dbispllc.com. Now to experience cutting-edge services in web design, software development, and branding. Let DBISP transform your vision into a reality. You can also visit them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at DBISP LLC. Now listen, if you guys are online with us right now, make sure you check out the sponsor. This is how the show is possible. Those that sponsor the show, we give a huge shout out to DBISP, because without them, we wouldn't be here today. And so we're going to continue on with this conversation with Miss Kyla. And one of the things that we did a poll before the show. I asked folks what would they most want to hear this conversation be about. And one of them was about a message that we would want to convey to the listeners on the importance of mental health and wellness, specifically for cancer survivors, but then also individuals that are dealing with some sort of diagnosis. I
think the main message is to put yourself first. And, as the saying goes, you cannot pour from an empty cup, right? So you really have to be, I love your saying, mindful of your mind, right? Self-awareness, increase your self-awareness. But really one thing, and not just for cancer survivors, but this is for anybody, stress. That stress reduction is so important, because especially if you're experiencing an illness and your body's trying to heal, your body cannot heal when it's going against stress as well. Your stress is increased. So that's important to set those boundaries, right? To decrease stress. Saying no is important.
The power of no is so important.
No. And it's so simple, but it's so hard.
Absolutely.
It's so hard. And it's like, I tell people, the first time you do it, it'll feel a little, funny, but you keep doing it, like, oh, this is easy. No all day. But really being mindful of your stress level, and that just with increase, like I said, increasing your self-awareness. And I tell people, be mindful of how you feel when certain people leave your presence, or when you leave certain people's presence.
Yes.
That's how you kind of can gauge, maybe I need to limit my interaction.
Yes.
So that's important.
And that's okay. And that's okay.
But so many people feel guilty.
Absolutely.
Like, I feel wrong. Well, why? For putting yourself first?
Yeah.
Because people will wear you out. If you let them.
And look, everyone, listen. So I want to talk a little bit about just mind your mind, but there are some specific mindfulness or meditation techniques that I know that we have worked with, and then you also work with other folks in the community that are quick and that they're easy in managing stress. And can you talk about those a little bit? Just some quick, when you're in the mix and you need to take a step away, what should one do or concentrate on?
My favorite one is that we all should do, breathe. That's the first thing. Like, a lot of people, when they get tense up, they hold their breath. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You like, you shrink your shoulders, shrink up and stuff. Breathe. Even not to roll your shoulders back.
Roll
Sometimes
your
we
shoulders
don't
back.
realize, like, come on, you tense. Like, just release. But when I say breathe, so mindfully breathing, right? There's box breathing. I love to do that. I do it on the 4 count. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4.
Say that again.
So breathe in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Box breathing.
Box breathing.
I do it at night when I'm in the bed, just to relax and calm myself down, right, to calm my mind. Hissing breathing is another one. Think of a snake. A snake makes that s sound. So it's, again, inhale deeply, exhale. Sometimes the noise of it, I don't know, it's kind of calming, but I get kids to do it and they think it's so funny. But that's a great thing to do. Prayer.
Yes.
If that's your religious belief, whatever your religious belief is, praying. One thing I've recently incorporated is sometimes I feel like I don't know the words to pray right. I pop on YouTube and find some great nighttime prayers or like the reading of Psalms. It helps me, you know, and I do my breathing then, and I go deep into sleep. Visualization is important, and I tried this earlier today. And it's something that I can do almost when I don't realize it. But when you try to intentionally do it, it can be challenging. But practicing, getting to a quiet space, closing your eyes and visualizing the things that you want.
Right.
You know, we hear people talk about manifestation, but manifestation is real. Like, you see it, you believe it, you can achieve it. Like, it all starts in your mind, right? Writing affirmations is one thing I love to do. A friend of mine told me, she said, practice writing affirmations every morning in a journal. Fill up one whole page. And It could be the same affirmation over and over again. I do it first thing when I wake up in the morning, and it does change the way you have to learn how to affirm yourself and validate yourself, right? And lastly, I love to do a 5 senses meditation. And it's not, I won't even really call it a meditation. I'll just tell people that it helps you to refocus and come back into the moment. But 5 things you can, 5 you can see, 4 you can hear, 3 you can smell, 2 you can touch, 1 you can taste.
Repeat that again.
And I might have said it in a different order, so Google it. It might tell you something. But I do 5 you can see, 4 you can hear, I think it's 3 you can touch, 2 you can smell, 1 you can taste.
See, so as all of you hear, there are a lot of different ways and different things that you can do when you are minding your mind, when you are trying to calm yourself in the middle of moments. Most of us, again, this is about the hustle bustle of life and the mental health and wellness that you have. And it really is important. And I'm speaking from experience and not just that in the book. Last week, as you know, Lisa Hayes, the executive director of Pink Forever Ending Disparities, was here. And I want to segue into talking about one of the, at least in my opinion, I might be a little biased here, one of the things that you are heavily involved in with the Pink Forever organization is survivorship as a lifestyle. And you are one of the partners.
Yes.
And so talk about that a little bit for our listeners, which is heavily surrounded around mental health and wellness.
Yes. So the wellness room is an experience.
It's an experience.
It's just a place for men and women to come and to learn about these tools and techniques to really mind your mind and take care of yourself. Whether you're a caregiver, a supporter, whether you're a survivor, or in the midst of going through your journey, it's a place where you can learn different tips and things. I also started Wellness in the City, where we go out to different places to see what wellness areas and activities we can do throughout the city, because there's so much, especially since this weather is getting nice, you know. Being outside is a great tool, because again, sometimes we isolate when we go through these things, and that's not helpful. But it's a way to build community as well. And that's a huge thing when it comes to mental wellness, is to normalize it, because a lot of people think I'm the only one. When they're going through these things. So it's important to build that. And that's what survivorship is, a lifestyle. I mean, it's giving people the opportunity to connect. And we kind of lack that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm glad that people are really working to get back to it. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. We really do appreciate you. One of the things that I have learned just over time, not just in my survivorship, but just being a mom and being a leader and owning businesses, is how important my mental health was, which actually took a back seat before, and the stress levels. And so when we at the organization talked about survivorship as a lifestyle, and we created it. A mental health and wellness component needed to be at the forefront. It is an absolute priority, and you have done that. And so I'll give you your flowers now. Thank you for that. I'm looking forward to our continued work and partnership together. And might as well segue to what you have going on with survivorship as a lifestyle for the next
coming up on March 23rd. Yes, it's a Saturday. It's going to be at Castleton Macy's. I'm partnering with Miss Nicole Renee. She is a personal stylist and a celebrity stylist out here in the community with Macy's. It's actually a free service that they offer. I wanted to connect mental health, body positivity, and fashion. Because, again, the season is changing. We're getting out of that seasonal depression, and sometimes how we look affects the way that we feel as well. So, and also just to understand that loving yourself, loving your body as it is. It's not waiting until the summertime. I'm trying to get my summer body. Loving your body now, and so that you can embrace yourself as you are. And that's by speaking positive things to yourself and being gentle with yourself. So self-love and self-compassion, those are things that we'll be talking about.
Well, Kyla will meet you there. She will see you there
at 11 to 12:30. You gotta think about that.
11 to 12:30, and you can always count on ensuring that our partners and folks that are giving this information, which is free, is free. This is
a free event.
It's a free event. This is free to the community. A part of survivorship is a lifestyle. Whether you are a breast cancer survivor, whether you are a supporter, whether you are, however you are involved. I want you to go and visit that website out there that Ms. Hayes gave last week, which is www.pink-4-ever.org, and see all the things like Kyla and our other partners in the community that are doing to survive life. And that's what the program is about. Survivorship as a lifestyle is about surviving life. It's about getting moving. It's about social activities. It's about mental health and wellness.
Yes.
And so, lastly, before we get out of here, we've got a couple of more minutes. We have a power play every week.
Okay.
And so our power play is an advocacy. What have you done for yourself for this week? And I want you to give our listeners what their power play is. Until next time, what is the power play for our listeners this week? And it can be around mental health and wellness. I think that will be good. What should our listeners do? What should we do this week to advocate for ourselves? What's our power play?
I want to say, just as I said earlier, put yourself first this week. And it sounds so much easier, right? It's easier said than done, but you can. If one thing is, and you know this personally, I personally had to assess my capacity with everything I had taken on, right? Being a mom, going back to school, trying to transition a new career, like balancing all this stuff. And I had to see, like, what can I take off my plate? And sometimes if we just I'm literally like, write these things down. Like I do this, and this. I got to take this kid here. I got to do that. Where can you tap in your supports? And sometimes you might realize, I don't have a good support system. So maybe I need to start reaching out to people. Maybe I got to put my pride to a side a little bit. Maybe you need to, even things like this, don't be ashamed to apply for assistance if you need it.
Listen, look.
Because at one point in my life, and like I said, I was a single mom. I did what I had to do, But really focus on trying to put yourself first this week. And even if it's take 15, 30 minutes, go for a walk. I'm about to do it when I get done here.
Yes, go for a walk. Well, Kyla, I want to thank you for joining us at Beyond the Pink Ribbon. I thank you for the information that you have shared with us in the community. What I'm going to ask everybody to do is to be sure that you go out on @NadiaE.Miller. Follow us on our social media sites, but tell me what you did this week. Kyla gave us our power play. So if you go for a walk, if you take a moment for yourself, if you take 2 beats, if you're minding your mind, we want to hear about it. Remember to click like, share, follow us so that you can keep up with all the things that are going on with at Beyond the Pink Ribbon. So what's up next week? If you missed what Beyond the Pink Ribbon is about, next week, we're going to play it again. So I want you to tune in so you can tell all of your friends and family what is Beyond the Pink Ribbon about. I want to thank our sponsors, DBISP LLC. I want to thank them for making this show possible tonight. We look forward to seeing you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thank you for joining us for Beyond the Pink Ribbon with your host, Nadia E. Miller. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Nadia E. Miller. Tune in every Wednesday for your drive home at 6 p.m. on Praise AM 1310 and 95.1 FM.